Awesome. So welcome once again. My name is Kerry-Ann Joseph-McLean. My co-host Cornell McLean and we are health enthusiasts. Just to make it, make it as transparent as we can. We are not health practitioners, but we are passionate about health, wanting to ensure that the knowledge that we have gained through connections with individuals like naturopathic doctors or even nutritionists and going to different seminars and learning as we have along our life journey, we have sort of picked up with some knowledge here or there. And so what we want to do is to share that information and pass it on, because if we can share what we know and add value to you that you can implement into your family, it does us good, because that means that we are creating a legacy of healthier individuals. We are healthier lifestyle entrepreneurs. And as we share the information we have with you and something resonates with you, we hope that you can take it with you to be able to implement it in your household or with others that you're connecting with in your circle. So each of us are, I call it the 6 degrees of separation. We sort of know each other, although the world is vast. We know that in this world that is still relatively small, because someone knows someone who knows someone who has a certain condition that we can maybe pass on some knowledgeable information with or two. So today's topic, again, like I said, every Tuesday we're here on our live health talk, but today's topic is on gut health, specifically parasites and related conditions. And I'm going to share with you some of the slides that I have here. But the slides that I have here, when you go through the information, it might be a lot at the time, but if we do record these. When I do have some time, I do upload them into our private Facebook group. If you're not a part of it as yet, please feel free to reach out to the person who invited you, and we'll be able to go back and get some more notes, some more information on that, be able to be of value to you. So I share my screen. I did forget to ask if you could hear me. I apologize for that. If you can actually hear me, please put a 1 in the chat. I would appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So I'm going to share my screen now. If you can see my screen, please put a 2 in the chat, and I appreciate that as well. Awesome. All right, thank you so much. So we're speaking on parasites. It's not the nicest of topics to speak on, but it is part of us. We have good bugs, bad bugs. We do have, all of us have the ability to have a healthier body, but there are times when things impact us, including parasites. So it may come across as different types of symptoms or some sort of condition and not realize it could be related to parasites. And again, anything I share with you, it's not from my knowledge, it's from credible sites like Harvard or Yale or even PubMed studies and other credible sites that I go to. I do my best to put the related link or website where I get the information from. And again, if there's additional questions, I'll try to answer those questions to the best of my abilities. So there are actual parasites. It could be a secret signs of different things. For example, nutrients deficiency. It could even be where you have a weight gain unexplained. It could be where you have certain types of pain, including things like diarrhea, and you don't realize that this could be related to parasites or a parasitic kind of symptom. So when we speak on parasites, it is an intestinal parasite. So it's an organism that relies on a host for food and nutrients, because without food and nutrients, it cannot survive. So whilst we're here on this earth and we're living, there are times when you may have more severe symptoms or it doesn't impact you at all. If you've passed on from this world, and then of course the body sort of breaks down and parasites attack it, that's not me too gruesome, but this is basically the circle of life. And so we look at different types of organism. One is called helminth, and one's called protozoa. Protozoa. And so I found some of the resources from a couple of sites, but basically these are some examples of the parasitic organism, parasites that may be in our gut. So there's different types of signs and symptoms of parasites. One could be you can have achy muscles. It could be where you have abdominal pain for diarrhea or even constipation. You may find that your body, there's some vibration or humming in the body can happen, dairy sensitivity. And believe it or not, symptoms can worse around the full moon. And this has actually been a study done through science to confirm that this actually it is something that is can impact you, especially when the moon, because most of us sometimes are impacted by the moon. Also anal itching, that can happen as well. So where you can have a parasitic infection. So some of the things you can consider, how the gut, if the balance is if the gut is not balanced, meaning that the parasitic symptoms have gotten worse or getting worse. If the gut is imbalanced, it impacts your entire being. It impacts your body, your health, including your mental health. So some of the symptoms, such as depression, sleeping disorders, chronic fatigue, food intolerance, even constipation from time to time, bladder infection, prostate problems, dandruff or flakes, rash or skin infections, swollen stomach, the tummy being swollen, burning stomach acid, even diarrhea, as I mentioned before, and menstrual disorders. Now, each person may have different symptoms or may have all of the symptoms. If, for example, in men, for prostate, in women, menstrual disorder, but everything else could be connected. Now, I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, just so you can be mindful of some of the symptoms that could be the cause of some of the things you're experiencing, like the health conditions that sometimes go unexplained. Maybe speaking to your doctor and they can't quite put their finger on it. So I would suggest to you, like, keep a journal of some of the symptoms you're experiencing from time to time, or if it's recurring, or if you find that you may have one or two symptoms, or you have another underlying condition that you may think, okay, you're diagnosed with this disorder, for example, chronic fatigue syndrome, but then there are other things that could be connected to your gut. So some of the symptoms for that, as I mentioned before, you can have in the way of fatigue, weight issues, and so forth, but there are other symptoms that can happen. You may have a skin issue on your body, your face, other areas, and you may think, okay, so it's a little rash, maybe it's something I touched, but really could be something related to your gut. So where can parasites live in the human body, and what body types they can infect? The brain, where you can get parasites there, so brain-eating parasite. In the eye, and lymph nodes, your lungs, your liver, your intestines, your muscles, blood, your joints, and your skin. So it can happen in different areas, maybe isolated to one or to all areas, depending on how the parasite is behaving in your body. Because again, it's looking for nutrients, it's looking for food. So it may be contained within your gut, or it may spread elsewhere. So so one of the things you may ask yourself is, could your gut problem be a parasite? So how do you protect yourself? What do you do for testing? And also learning the most common types of and symptoms. And we also know that through the information that we've actually gained, and again, I like to go back to the source. I found a website where it spoke about, weight gain. So how can do you think parasites can cause weight gain? Well, it can, and it is not necessarily the only reason, but it could be one of the root cause. So, for example, you have a craving, excess craving for sugar and carbohydrates. For example, you're diabetic and you're told, okay, some medication may cause you to crave sugar and carbohydrates. Or if you're highly stressed, or you're lacking sleep and you're craving these things so you can stay alert, or you can, you sort of have those moments of or inkling of wanting sugar or carbohydrates. It could be related to parasites, not necessarily diabetes. So you may have the symptoms of diabetes, for example, but you may have excess amount of parasites that's not balanced because there's good and bad bacteria. Nutritional deficiency, as I mentioned before, if your parasites are robbing your body of getting the right nutrients, you become nutrient deficient because the bad bugs are actually gaining all the benefits of the nutrients versus your body's being depleted from that. Systemic inflammation. So you're going to have chronic inflammation or mild to moderate inflammation, but it's reoccurring. That could be a symptom as well. So for example, you may have an autoimmune issue. You might have for example, rheumatoid arthritis or another type of condition that brings on inflammation, excess amount. Well, it could also relate to parasite or it may not, depending on what the findings are. Also, additional gut infection because everything starts in the gut, and of course, it can spread out. There's something called leaky gut syndrome, where the proteins may escape from or the bacteria may escape from your gut and go to other parts of your body, traveling through blood. So parasites also can lead to, as I mentioned, to gut inflammation, where you retain your weight. So, for example, the parasites irritates the lining of the gut, causing chronic inflammation. So what does this do? It can damage the gut bacteria, leads to leaky gut, toxins leave from there to other areas of your body. Your undigested food particles and pathogens can enter the bloodstream and trigger an immune response because these are considered foreign agents. It's not supposed to be in certain parts of the body. So your immune system is trying to work overtime to be able to get rid of these pathogens, these type of foreign agents. So the inflammation can cause disruption of your hormones, spike your cortisol, so your stress hormones, because your cortisol is mainly in your core area, your gut. You can cause insulin resistance. Now, if you're diabetic, you're taking medication, you become, or you're eating things that may have a lot of antibiotics and things like that. And of course, you become insulin resistant. Compound that now with you have, additional bad bugs or parasites. So that can cause you to gain weight. So what that means is it encourages your body, it signals to store fat, excess fat, especially around the tummy area, the belly. So the nutrient theft, so means you feel sluggish, you have no energy, you're lethargic, your metabolism is off. So it can happen in different things. You're going through a change, let's say menopause, or you're pregnant, or you have some type of medication you're taking which is impacting your metabolism in a negative way, or you become nutrient deficient because your tummy, your gut, I keep saying your tummy, but your gut, the bad bugs are actually getting the nutrients, and so of course you're nutrient deficient, as I stated before. So they actually love iron, so you can become iron deficient or anemic. They love B12 and also magnesium. So if you're consuming these supplements, but you also have these parasites or these bad bugs, it's actually it's a negative, it's counterproductive because you're feeding those bad bugs the things it need to thrive. So nutrients vital for energy production and thyroids are found in these nutrients. And of course, if it's being depleted at a rapid pace, meaning that you're sort of you're consuming it, but it's going out through the bugs poop and actually goes back into the system. That's what happens, right? Sorry to be so detailed. So you may also experience things like intense food craving. You've eaten, but you still crave something else, like sugar or excess carbs. The body's cry is a signal or cry that it needs more nutrients. It doesn't mean that you're hungry, it just says that there's signals of nutrient deficiency there. So some of the other symptoms I want to share with you is something called uh, dysbiosis and cravings. So this you may have bloating, gas or burping, abdominal pain, even acid reflux, mild to moderate, even severe. I mentioned before constipation or diarrhea. Skin condition can happen. Different types of areas of the body can happen where you have a breakout, and that's basically what's happening on the inside is manifesting on the outside. So joint pain, as I mentioned, but also brain fog because the brain is not getting the right amount of nutrients. So of course you're going to have brain fog. Depression or anxiety can happen because your body's off. It's not quite balanced. So it's not only impacting your physical body, but your mental health as well. And I mentioned before, hormone imbalance and chronic fatigue. So things like a perfect example of a this type of condition includes things like excess amount of yeast in your gut, like candida. Candida is a bacteria. So if you can overtake the beneficial bacteria, canceling out these benefits. So if there's an imbalance, it can sort of hijack your cravings. And so of course you're going to gravitate to the poor choices, especially things like processed food that have are high in carbs, high in sugar, and of course it thrives on the yeast. So it's a vicious cycle, learning how to sort of eliminate those things from your system and speak to nutritionists or even a naturopathic doctor. That would be more ideal. You can speak to your doctor to refer you to a naturopathic doctor or actually search it yourself. Get your blood work done, see what's happening with your system. And of course, they can do additional tests. And there's something called elimination diet, which I learned from my good friend who has a certain autoimmune condition. And she shared with me what she did, not specifically for this parasitic, condition, but in her case, it's an autoimmune issue, so she had to eliminate it. So even my cousin who actually had candida, she had to do this as well to get rid of that, had the treatment done, and also change how she eats to be able to eliminate that bad bug. So the imbalance happens, but there's a way to get back the balance if you're making wiser choices. If you're more aware, more mindful, then you can know exactly what to eat and what to avoid. So what the parasites like is sugar. It feeds the parasite. You get more nutrients, right? It's taking it from your body. But this can actually worsen the inflammation and weight gain. Sleep disruption, believe it or not. You may think, okay, why can't I sleep? Why am my sleep's been interrupted? It can actually impact you because some parasites are more active at night. So they're releasing these toxins that will interfere with your sleep, particularly around between 2 and 3 a.m. Now, if you're a night worker, this can happen where you're not sleeping at night, so it may be disrupted in the day. But once you sleep, you're not in full REM sleep and you're being disrupted because of this, the extra activity, active um, the parasites are being more active at that time, you'll find that the poor sleep is linked to weight gain, weight retention. And so if you're doing this, especially around the mid-tummy, start seeing some changes in your body, this could be an indicator as well. And also it impacts the cortisol and insulin sensitivity as well. So the intestine, parasites, symptoms, and causes. The goal is to live a long, well, I can't say healthy, but to live a life undetected and unharmed. So they move in stealth mode, so to speak, and they can succeed at this by causing symptoms such as chronic fatigue, thyroid problems, nutritional deficiencies, even acne, gastrointestinal issues, and mental disorders. This is simply from parasites and on all sorts of conditions that are deemed as incurable illnesses by conventional medicine. So things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression, bipolar disorder, eczema, psoriasis, syndrome, IBS, IBD, and also this may be caused by parasitic infection. So there are certain things that if the body's off, especially if you've not been diagnosed as having a leaky gut syndrome. This could be an underlying condition. So again, refer back to someone who can help you, a specialist, to run some tests, confirm, in a way that this is the direction you need to go to determine, okay, what can I do proactively to balance my gut from having bad bugs that poop, creating more toxins and more issues with, foreign agents going into your bloodstream versus how I can have the good bugs, because good bugs help your body to break down certain things. So again, being mindful, paying attention, writing down, journaling what you're eating, how you're feeling, how you're experiencing after a meal or before a meal, when you wake up or if you're disrupted, quick notes, notepad, keep it with you so you can actually take that information now to the naturopathic doctor or even a nutritionist as well. A traditional doctor, a family doctor, does not practice nutrition. They practice, the way of medical expertise to the best of their knowledge. They're educated guests, but they will not be able to advise you on the proper route to take to be able to eliminate these parasites. They may give you medication, which can actually aggravate you if you are taking other things or if you have a very sensitive stomach where your system cannot handle it. But again, do your due diligence to ensure you're doing the right thing for yourself. So some of the symptoms are common parasite symptoms can range anywhere from, as I mentioned before, the abdominal pain, but also allergies. You may find yourself allergic to a lot of things that you weren't normally allergic to. Um, Autoimmune disease, bedwetting for kids, um, eye inflammation can be one of them. Fever, flu-like symptoms, food sensitivities. You may have found 10, 15, even 5 years ago that you were not sensitive to this particular type of food, but the makeup of the food could actually trigger a food sensitivity, which you were not usually sensitive to. Also gallbladder and bile duct disease, which is something that is not very commonly known. Hashimoto thyroiditis is also a symptom. So these are some of the things that can actually be indicators or symptoms of intestinal parasites. Headaches, more frequent headaches than you normally get. Itching around your anus, as I mentioned before. Low energy, chronic. But one of the things I want to mention to you, which listed before, it's hives or sores, and also teeth grinding. You've heard in the past where sometimes green teeth grinding could be related to a heart condition. That I have known from before. But actually, teeth grinding could mean that you're deficient in a nutrient, but also an indicator that you have more bad bugs than good bugs. The other thing as well is if you find that you're having any of these symptoms when you're traveling or if you're at home, pay attention. Other symptoms of the gut parasites, for example, are things like bruxism. It's a clenching and a grinding of the teeth, but you may find it more common around kids. So as you're sleeping, pay attention to that. I remember back in about 20 something years ago, my two cousins, they had that, but I thought it was something to do. They actually have a heart murmur, so I thought that was the only thing. But now I'm looking back, hindsight, I can realize, okay, this could have been an indicator that they also have, the bad bugs are actually more in their system than the good bugs. It's not balanced. So other things that can increase the risk of you getting intestinal parasites is basically living in or visiting an area known to have parasites. International travels, so be mindful of that. Even the water, the foods you eat, uncooked meats. Poor hygiene can happen where this can actually be a great concern. Age factor, so children and elderly are more likely to get infected. Exposure to child and institutional care centers, so practice due diligence. Having a weakened immune system is a great concern. HIV or AIDS, of course, that can, because of the breakdown of your body and your immune system, is where this has a greater chance of having intestinal parasites. Working closely with animals, handling soil or even waste materials, which is some of the things that can increase the risk of it. So here's a question to you. Did you know gastroenteritis is an infection of the stomach? Some of the key indicators is not only for one particular cause, it could be a virus, a bacteria, parasites, certain medications, or even chemicals. So you may have been determined or diagnosed with gastroenteritis and not know where the root cause is. Bacteria into the gut, the parasite is also one of those key factors as well. Another part of indicator of parasites is if you know someone or if you have been diagnosed with Hashimoto disease. And so a lot of people experience multiple gut symptoms. But one of the things is, of course, is having a test done. So a stool test to indicate if it's a parasite imbalance with bed bugs. So if you're able to have that test done, that means you need to speak to your traditional doctor to have that extra test done, to do whatever samples you need to be able to determine or to rule out if this is one of the reasons. So the Hashimoto is more poor gut health, viral infection, nutrient deficiency, parasites, other autoimmune conditions, and heavy metals. So I'll share with you a little bit further some of the things you can do and how to reduce that or to eliminate that or to balance it. But one of the things is it's 3 out of the 6 things that I mentioned here for Hashimoto's are related to parasites. So for example, nutrient deficiencies, parasites rob you of your nutrients, the parasites itself, but also poor gut health. So this is where some individuals who say that, okay, I have IBS or IBD, and there's some such bloating, constipation or diarrhea. This is where this could be an indicator that, if you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, then this is something that you must pay attention to. So also individuals who have a constipation, like long-term constipation, more than 3 days, 4 days or more, your body needs to, you consume, you need to be able to release. So urination and BM, bowel movement, is very important to keep a balanced body. This excess backup of your stool can cause poisoning of the body, of the blood, your intestines, and other areas. So the parasite can cause constipation in many ways. So you may have abdominal pains, things like that, which may cause the infection. But what it does, it causes the intestinal buildup. It causes the disruption in your gut microbiota, so imbalancing the gut flora, blocking the bile ducts, damaging the intestinal lining, block nutrients absorption, which I mentioned before. It can change your gut pH balance, increase the mucus production, suppress the immune system, disrupt smooth muscle contractions. Also, it can alter intestinal electrolytes and balance. So your electrolytes will be imbalanced. So there's something called parasite cleansing. Again, there's different things on the market you can use, but there's natural ways to do it as well over time. So the body gets what it needs to be able to cleanse itself, the gut itself. So if you follow a parasitic cleanse, it can help get rid of those types of bad bugs. But during the cleanse, you'll combine nutritional strategies with herbal remedies. So for example, if you want to do it on your own, I'll share with you what you can do, that things, at home remedies you can maybe possibly try first. If it's extreme, again, please go to your doctor, ask them to direct you to a naturopathic doctor. If they give you medication that has side effects, then do your due diligence and to figure out what works best for you. But there's a balance. So if you need to have that cleanse, you need to have nutrients coming into your body so that you do not have an imbalance in your diet. So it's important to maintain a well-balanced diet. Make sure you're not eating any processed food. Focus on more natural foods, eating a lot of fiber if possible, if your body allows it, because some people have conditions where they have to stay away from excessive amount of fiber. But this can help to regulate your bowel movements, to flush out the parasites, because once it's in, you're able to, with this practice, you're able to release that, to be able to cleanse your body, to help to contribute a healthier gut biome. So if you avoid things like sugar, it's a good strategy to maintain a healthy gut. So parasite cleanse can include anything that's in your diet. So things like we call them anti-parasitic properties, things like onions and garlic, raw honey, not the blend of honey where there's cornstarch, sorry, corn syrup and honey, or if it's more sugar and honey, but pure honey. Foods high in zinc, like if you can eat seafood, if you don't have allergy, whole grains, legumes. More of that during that process of cleansing. Also fermented foods, natural yogurt's really good. Sauerkrauts, if you can eat that, but that actually helps to contribute to a healthier gut bacteria. Foods high in vitamin A, carrots, sweet potatoes, cantaloupes, mangoes, for example, if you're able to. Food high in vitamin C to strengthen your overall well-being and immunity, and other things I'll share with you as well. Herbs that have proven to be effective in treating parasites. So things like oregano, maybe thyme, rosemary, marjoram, cumin, if you're able to eat those. So additional things as well, I put a screen capture to the left as to some of the suggestions you can use in the way of food for cleansing your body over time. My husband actually likes to drink clove water, but he drinks that from time to time. So there's different things you can try depending on what your palate likes, of course, right? So if you're looking at supplements, here's a list I'm going to share with you, and there's something else I'm going to share with you in just a little bit. But making sure your body's getting the right amount of probiotics to maintain a healthy level of beneficial bacteria. Ensure that you can, things like papaya seeds, pumpkin seeds, even wormwood, can help to eliminate parasites, perhaps contributing to its name. Pay attention to your body. If it works with you, some people it does not. So you're just going to be able to balance it the best as you can. Additional foods that can starve parasites from the gut. Pineapple, very packed with parasite fighting enzymes. I love pineapple, by the way. I mentioned to you clove, also lemon. Having that first thing in the morning with some warm water, that's actually pretty good for you. Ginger. Raw honey has a power pack of antimicrobial, so it starves the parasites. Raw carrots, even cayenne pepper, sorry. So that burns the parasites infection. For myself, I can't do cayenne, but maybe you can. So what works for you, do what works for you. Also berries, sunflower seeds if you can, and some additional ideas as well. You can maybe do research as to types of food or fruits that can help to kill parasites. Kiwi, lemon, I mentioned before, fennel, pumpkin, cantaloupe, peppermint, asparagus. These are nice types of foods to help you in case you have any type of bloating issues, to bloat you, also to help to fight the bad bugs. How do you prevent parasites? Well, you can do anything from making sure you wash your hands frequently, especially when you go out, if you're from the bathroom, um, you're interacting with your pets. If you're pregnant, avoid changing, of course, cat litter because of what's happening with the parasites there. So you have to be very careful of that. Drink clean water, so making sure that you're drinking water that has been treated. If you have a filter, that would be even better. Making sure that you can consume the water that's clean. Cooking foods to the correct temperature, not leaving it to sit at home so it gets into an unsafe zone. Of course, raw fish, making sure that you approach that with caution. If you tend to lean to the sushi, if you love sushi, make sure you're eating it with caution. So sharing that with you, it is the fact that you're giving your body the nutrients it needs, especially a diet rich in vitamin A and minerals like selenium and zinc, it can actually improve your body natural defense. And so additional to that, I would suggest to you superfoods. There's certain superfoods you can consume. I mentioned before pumpkin seed, berries, it's also chia, a whole bunch of different things you can try. Even ginger is considered a superfood. So you can be creative because after a while you might get bored with what you're consuming. So be creative as to what you want to do. Now, I want to mention to you another superfood, which I love, I fall in love with. It's called reishi or Ganoderma. It actually is a superfood and also on the hierarchy of medicinal mushroom. So it has power packed of polysaccharides, nutrients in the way of amino acids, a lot of it helps with many things with your overall well-being, but also helps as a natural detox. So there's a hierarchy or a list of all the superfoods on the planet, and reishi happens to be the number one thus far. I love spirulina as well, but number one, it's something that I've learned about the last 14 years, and it's infused in different beverages I'm going to share with you, but it has many, many health benefits and helps the body become more pH balanced. It also helps with your gut health. So we talk about supplementing your body to get the right nutrients. So we know most of the food on the planet are heavily depleted. But if you consider having an additional supplement, things like, omega-3s, probiotics, superfoods like Ganoderma I mentioned before, which is also called reishi. Lion's mane is another great mushroom. A lot of properties there as well. And cordyceps. So they're all considered on the hierarchy of superfoods, but has a lot of properties such as anti-inflammatory because body's inflamed, more acidic. This actually helps to do the reverse. So it has over 150 antioxidants in your single dose of your Ganoderma. So as a comparison, let's say you have Avocados. You get 7 in the way of dose of the what you have for your recommendation for your daily consumption versus 150. So everything is tracked in units as you take your supplements. So the international units of the in the measurement of what you get in your supplements for your daily consumption is what I'm referring to. So, for example, I love cinnamon. I would consume that, but would not have cinnamon every single day. Depending on what I'm eating, you get about 11 of the antioxidants from, your dose of your cinnamon versus I can consume this superfood of reishi every single day and what I'm going to share with you and get my daily nutrients that I need. I also love green tea. You may not, but there's something as well. You get a lot of antioxidants from green tea. So your body needs antioxidants to be able to fight off things like free radicals and oxidative stress, but also help to balance your body, supporting your immune system, and much, much more. So this superfood I'm sharing with you actually gives you, a heavier dose that your body actually needs to thrive and to be able to come back into a homeostasis state. So it's low in, it's high in rich resources of nutrients and bioactive compounds, but very low in calories and fat. So it has actually been proven worldwide, over 3,000 plus studies, to treat many ailments. So your body will need, many things like antioxidants, terpenoids, flavonoids. It needs all these things to protect the brain, the body, the gut, your mental, your physical health. And so your body needs this balance of foods or nutrients. But if you're eating foods that are heavily depleted from the soil to the table, you need to add something in the way of supplements. So this is why I'm sharing this with you, because we started consuming this these are almost coming up to 15 years now, and we've seen many, many benefits. And we've heard and gotten feedback from people who are consuming this as well. So think of you consuming ginseng as a kid, or even, going through different types of superfoods we've heard, like coconut oil, as we're growing up. And then the Western world finds out about it 20 years later. And we've known about it that growing up, especially if you're an immigrant here in North America. We know about these type of great foods that help with our body. So Ganodum has been about for over, 2,000, 3,000 years. Um, and it is used as an additional complement to medication you're taking in the eastern part of the world, like Japan, for example. So if you're taking medication for your heart, diabetes, different things, you take that with it so that you're able to support and protect your organs, your well-being as you're taking medication or on its own, depending on the severity of your condition. So here are some PubMed studies through pubmed.gov that I'm sharing with you. I'm going to go through it quickly. One of the main things I want to highlight is that it has the anti-inflammatory properties. We talked about things like, parasites can actually trigger depression. It is known to help with anxiety, pain, and depression. It actually helps to relax and calm the body down. And also it helps to improve depressive-like this behavior. So think of if let's say you're taking antidepressant because you've been diagnosed with depression, maybe linked to the parasites or your gut health. You're consuming something that you're getting the benefits of naturally without any side effects. And here's the link below that I found the information. So not only is supporting your immune system, your improving your mood, working as an antidepressant, it has many other benefits as well. So I mentioned before that the depression, but the picture I'm showing you here of the gut imbalance and how it impacts you, I'm going to show you a few other PubMed studies that these conditions have been known to help with by consuming this particular superfood. So it defeats stress, but it could be stress, especially cortisol level raising, protecting you against oxidative stress, meaning that your cells could be damaged because from normal to imbalancing of your cells, causing other things, meaning that if you have a gut health issue, those toxins can travel to your cells, poisoning with the toxins. So it impacts you ways breaking down the cells and causing you to have oxidative stress, which causes additional health issues with your body. So I'm highlighting a few of the in bold so you can actually focus on those. But I mentioned before unexplained weight gain or could happen where you have parasites. So what it does, it helps to balance in case you have been diagnosed with a metabolic disorder. This actually helps to reverse it. Meaning if your body is holding on to the weight, it helps to balance that out as well. So Ganem also has the ability to help with individuals who have sleep disruption. That's one of the circumstance for parasites in the body. That is the bad bug that you have excess of. So if you're finding that your sleep has been impacted, this works as an anti-insomnia mechanism and also helps with things, other conditions, but I want to focus on that as well. The gut microbiota I mentioned before, if that is not balanced, you find that you will have more inflammation, more issues where you can get leaky gut syndrome. And so if that helps to balance the gut microbiota, meaning the gut and the brain and the gut is actually working more effectively. If there's a disruption, the signaling of the communication from the brain to the gut and vice versa, that means that it could have an issue with your gut disruption. So consuming this helps to balance that. And of course, if you have been diagnosed with obesity or chronic inflammation, this actually helps with balancing that out as well. I mentioned about dysbiosis. This helps as well in balancing and getting rid of those toxins to be able to alleviate some of these symptoms that you're experiencing if you have been if you think or you may have been told you have excess amount of the bad bug in your system. So Ganoderma lucidum has a lot of properties in the way of things like polysaccharides, but this actually helped prevent gut dysbiosis. So meaning that all the symptoms that I mentioned before with the gut dysbiosis, it helps to prevent it, alleviate it if you have it. Also, anything that's related to obesity, metabolic disorder in the way of this condition. We talked about heavy metals that can happen and it can be in your system. It also helps to detoxify accumulated heavy metals. Now, there are other things you can use to help you. I'm just focusing on Ganoderma. So it helps with many other things, but because it's so packed with antioxidants and the other nutrients that your body need, without intake of X amount of calories, it's a win-win in my case, and for those who are consuming it as well. So the gut microbiome, it actually helps with many other things, but if you're looking at improving your immune system, that's one of them. That because it can be linked to if you have parasites, but also if you have behavior disorders. But the thing I want to focus on is that as you, or if you're diagnosed with, let's say, leaky gut syndrome, or if you have parasites that are excess of the bad bugs, and it leaks to, that gets out the toxins to other parts of your body, not just your cells or your blood, but also impacting your organs over time. Some people, for example, you become insulin resistant. That means that your pancreas is, or your liver, or even all these things are not functioning the way they are because you've been diagnosed as diabetic, but it could be an underlying condition like parasites. So if your all other organs are being impacted, it actually protects against this syndrome. The other thing I want to mention before the chronic fatigue, it helps with if you have excess amount of fatigue, or you find you wake up and you're extra tired, or you have more disturbances. It helps to minimize those over time. It also helps with anything like the sleeping disorder, if you have issues like insomnia or forgetfulness because the brain fog. But also main thing it helps with in your sleep. So it distresses the body, calms the body down from flare-ups, from the disturbance you may have at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if you find that's happening with you. Over time, you're consuming this and making the right choices to eat healthier, you find there's going to be a difference improvement in your body. The other thing as well I wanted to mention is that as you're consuming this, there's 3 stages of the Ganoderma. There is a rooting body, which is called mycelium. There's a fruiting body, which is called Ganoderma, which is the also known as reishi. And then there's the spores, which is the reishi spores or Ganoderma spores that basically goes back into the air onto plum logs, and the cycle of life begins again. There are certain companies who just produce the fruiting body and the root because they're grown in plastic bags, which is considered certified organic. But with this brand I'm sharing with you, you get all three because they're grown on plum logs as nature intended them to be. So that means if you're consuming things like the spores, the fruiting body, or even the actual seeds, you find that your sleep time increases. You have a better REM sleep over time. And again, making sure you're minimizing the sugar intake and sometimes the cravings, balancing out the things that you're not supposed to eat. And you're consuming something to help your body get the right nutrients because the bugs are gonna kind of rob you of your nutrients and become nutrient deficient. But again, paying attention, being mindful. The other thing as well is the prostate. I mentioned before, prostate issue. This gadodum has been known, and I'm sharing with you the ID number for each study. If you see PMID and a number following that, that is actually the study that was done peer-to-peer with doctors around the world who put their information in that website, pubmed.gov, with their findings over time of what this actual superfood can do for certain conditions. And these are backed by science, and all the trials have done. So things like the gandalucidum helps to suppress invasive prostate cancer cells. It actually helps with, if you have a condition, not just for prostate, but it's considered anti-cancer. So for example, breast or any other type of cancer that it has been linked to in a way of helping or alleviating the cancer cells, then we know this is because you're consuming it as getting the nutrients and to help with the medicinal part. It's it's a win-win for medicinal as well as for food supplement. The cordyceps is another thing I wanted to share with you. That's a superfood, the second one I mentioned. This is another superfood which works separate from the reishi or Ganoderma or synergistically together. They work well together as well. So it helps with individuals who have issues with depression. So it acts as an antidepressant. It helps if you have anti-fatigue, and it's like an intervention for excess amount of fatigue in the body. It helps to maintain or manage your chronic inflammation. So to reduce inflammation in the body if you have chronic or mild, and also if you have mild to moderate stress, because I mentioned cortisol triggers, and of course you get your body becomes more stressed. If you find that you're overly stressed or you have oxidative stress or you find your body's more inflamed, or you find that you have sleep issues, especially for those who have depression, this helps as well in a natural way. Of course, keep in mind that if you're taking medication, then these mushrooms, there's no negative interaction with the medication that you're taking. Thus far, we've not searched over 3,000 case studies, and there's no negative interaction. If you just want to, consume it on its own, that's great. If you want to take a medication, pay attention to your body and see what it does for you, because everyone's body is different, of course. I know what it's done for me and my family and those that I've connected with. Of course, you can try it for yourself. The cordyceps as well, it helps with not just for the things I mentioned before, but actually very strong in antioxidant properties and has anti-cancer activities as well. And not only that, think of if you're consuming cordyceps and you have issues, for example, like constipation or anything that's impacting your intestinal tract, it actually helps with the intestinal barrier function and the gut microbiota. So we know that everything's connected in that gut way. If your gut is impacted, your intestine is impacted, so it actually helps to improve intestinal health. The gandum itself, as I mentioned before, has a lot of properties, and so does the cordyceps. Also, lion's mane. That's the third superfood I want to bring to your attention. It helps with brain function, brain fog, memory issues, but also mental energy. You find that sometimes you get depleted with your mental energy. You may find your mood shifts. You may have a depressive disorder, maybe mild to moderate to severe. Your cognition is not quite right. You find you have more brain fog moments than you should. That means that your brain and your gut brain axis is off. So that means not only is it impacting your gut, for parasites, it's actually impacting your brain. So these medicinal mushroom helps to alleviate these conditions over time. And also you find that the things that you're lacking in the way of nutrients you start receiving, the body starts accepting it. It's like an adaptogen. It goes into your body, it does what it needs to do, helps to balance the body. But of course, you have to make the conscious decision of the things that you're consuming, how you're sleeping, how you're moving. All these things are a factor as well. And pay attention to how you're feeling, your focus, your mood. All of these things are very, very important to pay attention to. So lion's mane, it supports not just the gut and brain, the supportive in the cognition function, but also to boost your focus and concentration. It also is considered anti-cancer. It has a lot more benefits than what I'm sharing with you, but this is just a little snippet of that. And I'm sharing this with you because we are a brand that with a purpose, and we want to discover wellness with you through our company called Organo. And the power of the Organoderma was introduced to myself and my husband about 14 years ago. We started consuming all of this goodness by sharing with everyone. And so people are now becoming aware of this brand. I can tell you for sure that this is something I didn't know about, especially growing up in the Caribbean, but knowing about it now, I want to be able to share it with people to create better lives and with our team of great individuals who are sharing this as well with their individuals that they love, right? Because friends who have friends want to encourage you to live your optimal best and healthy and richer lives. So we actually do have approval through Health Canada. So we can state it supports the immune system. It helps to fight infections and the diseases. It also helps with many other things, but I mentioned beyond what I'm sharing. The actual Ganoderma on its own is quite bitter. If you were to brew it into a tincture and drink it, it's quite bitter. But we found a great way, a patent that we have, to infuse it into everyday consumable items that we consume, like teas and cocoa and coffees, but also on its own as a capsule. So there's many ways to get it, the nutrients into your body with everyday consumable that you like. So it's sometimes with the brain, if we want to change to advise of some sort of medication, it's hard to consume it every day or a vitamin every day to be consistent. No, we have good intention, but we have habits since we're from birth till now that we can't break, like drinking something hot or something cold, drinking water, having your capsules to help you. So there's the way you get into your system every day and get the benefits. We also have it in toothpaste, believe it or not. I love it because for me, for my gums, help with my gum health, but most of all, we find the bacteria builds up in the mouth. You can actually make sure you're taking this to eliminate that, but also you're consuming something for your overall well-being. So practicing mindfulness, positive wellness is one of the things we're passionate about. Let's think of it, making one small choice for a lasting impact and knowing that you're doing something for the longevity of your life, creating a new legacy for you and your household by making that switch. So consider these three as superfoods you can actually have as supplementing your nutrients, also for your household or someone you want to gift it to, especially Christmas is coming around. But this is what I want to share with you. Ours is naturally grown. We have over 32 certification quality worldwide, and we have a patent to protect the process of how we infuse it into our beverages versus those on the market might be slightly less expensive, but the nutrients you receive from these that are grown in plastic bags we are far superior in the way of the quality of what we have to offer in the way of the nutrients your body needs. So this is how it comes in the capsule form. Think of it of taking that next step of getting yourself or give yourself permission of that passport for holistic wellness. This is what I mentioned before, the 3 stages of growth comes in capsule form in vegetable casing. And so you can consume that as a therapeutic dosage if you have an underlying condition or to complement what you're doing. And so if you consider something for yourself in the way of food, medicinal, this is something you can add to your daily regime, especially if you do considering elimination diet to reduce some of the things that you may have. But keep in mind as well, we do have a limited offer. If you decide to try this for 30 days, 60 days, even 90 days, because your body needs time to adjust to be able to repair itself and do what it needs to do. If you're eating or doing things that are basically not healthy for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you start consuming something, the body needs to adapt to be able to know what it needs to flush out to rebalance. So we want to encourage you that this is a brand that we love, we support. We are brand ambassadors. We're a Canadian company. Our head office is in Victoria, BC, and so our products come from there. So we do have a limited time offer right now that you can actually get free shipping in North America, $50 or more of any of the products that you'd like. Try it for 30, 60, 90 days exclusively. Pay attention to your body. I love the taste of it because for me, if it doesn't taste good, it doesn't pass my palate, no matter how good it is, I'm not going to consume it for a long time, period of time. But because the premium brands are there for you to enjoy, think of the coffee, tea, hot cocoa as a delivery mechanism to get these superfoods into your system and then pay attention to your body in saying that. So with that, I just want to wrap up and ask you if you have any questions. And of course, I want to thank you for your time. Okay, so there are no questions. I want to thank you for your time. I do appreciate you coming on board.
Thank you so much,
Hi.
Kerry.
Oh, hi, Ellen. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. It's a great presentation as always.
Thank you so much. And of course, any questions you have, love to try it, give it as an option, as a gift for individuals for Christmas. That's something you can do as well. And with your first order on the website, it's 10% off, of course. Free shipping. Christmas is around the corner. Well, I should say Boxing Day. So we have Black Friday, Christmas, Boxing Day. So many things are happening. But, you can feel free to reach out and we'll be able to share with you how you can get it. All right. So have a great day, everyone. Take care and blessings. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.